morning, everyone. All right, welcome to Limitless Power Coach webinars. How are you? Okay, so today's topic is supervisory. Know the basics. Just a quick presentation about myself. My name is Riza. This is a quick summary of my profile. And currently, I'm doing consultancy as events director, marketing director, speaker, and training facilitator. So I hope to see you more with upcoming Limitless Power Coach trainings. So to start with, today's objectives are for us to understand the role of being a supervisor. I'm not sure if everybody, all the participants here have the same or already have experiences or would really want to learn new things about the role. So the objectives for today is understanding the role, understanding your staff or your members, and of course, facilitating the basic management functions. All right. So later on, as we go through the process, feel free to ask question. All right. Or otherwise, later after the presentation, I'll be sharing or we'll be opening the floor for any questions. Hopefully, I'll be able to um, give you the answers. All right. So to begin with, understanding your roles. So being a supervisor, these are the things that there are um, specific instances or specific roles that we have to understand. And well, we have to define the role as it is generally because from the web, from online, from dictionary, you would be able to see, you would be able to see the definition of a supervisor or being managing people or leading them. So it's basic to know, or it's good to know the basic definition. However, as a supervisor, you have to create your own personal definition of the supervisor. On top of your head, thinking about the position, what how do you define or how do you see yourself managing or supervising your team? So can you put a quick note? All right. Um, anything on top of your head? All right, let me see. Okay, overseer. What else? All right, guiding your team. Good. All right, so these are some of your personal definition, and hopefully later on as we learn as you go through the process or as you learn the position, you'll be able to create your own definition because each person has its own supervisory skills or has its own style of managing, leading people. So it's very important that you have to analyze your own definition, and is it really the kind of supervisor that you would want to um, portray or present. All right, so is it not full screen? I need to you're not seeing the presentation, are you, or not? Okay, hold on a second, let me see. Full screen. All right. Can you hear me? All right. I'm not sure if what particular topic you missed. Anyway, going back. So just again, we have to understand the role of a supervisor. Again, number one would be you have to define the role. Um, how do we define generally from out of the books, from online and general information. Number two, you have to clearly define your own definition of being a supervisor. As I have read earlier, there are numerous um, ideas that you have presented. They're basically all true. And third one would be you have to also define your duties and responsibilities. So each company, each organization, being a supervisor, you carry on different duties and responsibilities. So as you go on with the task, as you go on with the position or job, you'll be able to somehow list down or be able to learn the duties and the boundaries or the responsibilities managing a team, leading a team. All right. So next, after setting the defining the role of a supervisor, we have to set some expectations. It's very clear, and this is a common concerns or issues that we tend to overlook because and the way we present things, it's a matter of setting expectations. See, let's say you are given a task and you are just asked um, this is the task I want from your supervisor, from your manager, from the company. Again, it's very important that we have to have similar expectations. We have to set expectations from the management. What are the goals? What would be the end result that they're expecting from you? And second would be, what are the expectations of your staff or your members? It's very important that you have to have a clear understanding. What are the expected output? What are the expected learning? What are the expected experiences are taken from a supervisor. And we have, as a supervisor ourselves, we have to define our own self expectations. So in every in every position, in every role, in every duty given to us by our superior, by the company, we have to clearly know these three angles of expectations. So again, coming from the management, which requires planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. So this is the POLC, that as we say. And then the second one would be expectations from the staff or the members. So it's very important that you know their expectations. And the third one would be you have to clearly define your own expectations. Would you want to um, meet or delight the management, your staff, or whatever the outcome that you wish to accomplish after participating or after doing such tasks? All right. So, all right. So the third objective is, the four basic management functions. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this one. Perhaps during your high school or collegiate years, you have a background or you were given, a basic management functions. But as to how do we clearly understand this, um, I don't know if we are able or if we know how to apply these functions. So just a quick rundown. Um, Planning, any idea what is planning or um, planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Can I get some feedback through chat if you are familiar with these basic functions? Yes. All right. Okay. So perhaps most of the participants are pretty much familiar, but how do we use these basic functions, management functions? Are we implementing this efficiently and effectively? Are we able to take advantage or apply um, not only the theories, but the practice, and making your respective responsibilities or duties or uh, problems or positions given to you by your bosses or the company. All right, so just a quick grasp of the basic management function. So planning is the first step in every task, in every goal, in every direction given to us by the management or by the company, by an organization. We have to have a clear planning. So planning is getting prepared or anticipating um, unexpected peculiarities or challenges. So it's very important that we have to we have to think ahead as part of what could be the courses of action we could consider if given this situation. Because when we do our tasks, when we do our roles, when we perform our duties, it's not always as we things are not always as we planned. There may be some challenges along the way performing the task. There may be some concerns. There may be some loopholes. There may be some things that we may overlook. So planning or setting a plan ahead of time or before the actual event or before the actual action, um, we have to think of possibilities. What are the different possibilities that may happen? So if possibility if things is out of the possibility one that we have set earlier, what could be the reaction, or how are we going to resolve, or how are we going to um, prepare or overcome an unusual um, circumstance or situation that we are into. So we have to plan ahead. We have to know what course of action should we perform if possibility number two will happen, or if possibility three will happen, and so on and so forth. So it's very important that we are ready um, to um, to react um, efficiently and effectively given such situation. Agree. If we do not plan, as Judy said, we plan to fail. So the mere fact that we go through such process, the process itself, it's sometimes difficult, especially if we are not prepared. But if we are prepared, or we have planned, we have set some guidelines already, um, I think better chances for us to do our tasks or our job more um, effectively or smoothly. So less issues, less problems, less costs perhaps along the way. All right. So that is planning. So anticipating any unexpected possibilities. So the more possibilities that we could think of, and note down how would we react or resolve such issues, such challenges, the better. All right. So it would be more costly, less costly when it comes to finances, budget, or time and effort. So it's better that we plan ahead. All right. So the second one would be basic, the organizing. Um, well, this is one of the difficult part especially if you have a lot of things to do. We have a lot because when our when the company or your boss or the management would give us some tasks, it's very um, the deadline is always yesterday, especially those people living or working in a corporate companies. So I'm not sure if all of us here have experience working in a corporate setup or even in the public or private groups or organizations or companies. Um, when your boss sets a goal or a task, it's always a priority. Can I get a reaction if you are experiencing such when you are given a task by your boss? It's always the top priority. Is it? Right. Right. Sometimes your boss would be giving you, two, three, four, five tasks, and all of them are your priorities. But it's very important for us to really understand and really create which is the top most priority to accomplish given a limited time or given this specific time frame. What would be the middle priority lists, so and the least priority. So we have to check all we have to always check the timeline. We always have to check um, um, your resources, available resources. We have to check when we say resources, it's not only the materials but the staff or but the people who would be performing the job or performing the tasks. So it's very important that we know um, what is available, what are the things that are or the workforce available at hand, so we would be able to determine and and of course the difficulty of the tasks. So considering all those, we should be able to create the right sequence or the order of priorities. So again, we have to define if you have a list of tasks, you have to perhaps categorize them in um, top priority, middle, and lower or least priorities. So having said that, you'll be able to know which particular action, which particular tasks you would be focusing more on and exert your effort, exert your time, focus your staff or workforce. So it's very important that we know how to organize as leaders, because this is one of the basic expectations from the management. All right. So and of course, when we have the list of priorities, it would be easier for us to direct our staff. Or staff one, you have to do this. Staff two, you have to do that, and so on and so forth. So it would be easier for us to allocate resources, to allocate workforce, and the machines or the facilities that we'll be using. All right. So right. Okay. Everything is top priority, right? Urgent. I like that. It's very common that we hear from our boss that urgent, rush. So we have to set our minds that whenever our bosses give us direction or give us tasks, it's always a priority. So it's up to us as a supervisor to categorize them according to priorities, right? So next would be leading. Personally, this is my favorite part, the leading. And this is the most complicated function of basic management. So leading is driving the team to the intended goal or directions. So this is the application already. Planning is anticipating. Organizing is still part of the process of um, before the action or um, merging the priorities. While leading is the actual action. it's the actual role that most of the supervisor or us supervisors need to have a clear or better understanding, because this is a in itself, leading is a very broad topic. It's a very broad responsibility. It's a very broad um, topic that or responsibility that we have to um, have a clear view for us to carry on our role or our position. So what are the top, perhaps, that you could think of, that the difficulty that you have experienced or are experiencing as a leader or leading your team? So usually there are staff who are um, stubborn, perhaps, when you say things, when you ask them to do some things. Some of them would be doing petics, perhaps. They're not going to do it unless it's deadline, or sometimes they would be going out. They're supposed to be doing focusing all their efforts and time on a particular project. However, because they're not that cooperative, normally they'll be out of or they may be doing something else, and then later on, when you ask for them about the result, or if they have finished their task, they would say they would be able to create a lot of excuses, like they have less time, they don't know what to do, and all those stuff. So those are the difficulties. All right, so age difference, yes, agree. This is one common, especially now that we live in the millennial era. So generally millennials, they're impatient. They have um, an idea, or they have their own way of doing things. But of course, as a leader, or as a supervisor, we have to really clearly understand the different levels of, or the different ages. One of the difficulties also, since most of the companies, I would say, based from generally 60 to 70% of the workforce, current workforce, are basically millennials. However, so they're more aggressive. So you would see from different companies, different organizations, there are supervisors or leaders who are younger than their staff or than their members. So normally, generally speaking, but I'm not saying everyone, but there are more senior staff that are not so open, or they're not they feel that they know better than, let's say, they have a new supervisor who is younger than them, and normally they would have a difficulty opening up to such expectations, or to such leading or supervising style of the leader. So normally they would tend to be close-minded, or they do not follow, and so on. So that's one of the difficulty leading a group of people with such age differences. Um, I could see from the notes, some older people are a bit less techie savvy, so instructions using technology can be a challenge. Right. Apart from the age, or the attitude, or the how the people think or react, it's quite challenging already. More so technology. I would say I'm in the middle parts when it comes to technology. Siguro that's why I could consider myself feeling millennial, because somehow I tend to be impatient dealing with technologies, because there are to, a lot of things to learn, yung mga functions. There are yung mga we browse things, we check with, you click this, tapos meron mga pop-up, meron mga different functions or systems that we are using, perhaps in HRIS or system in the technology, computers and all that. So for people who are less exposed to these things, and you work for an organization or for a company wherein, you know, there are new technology, younger people managing, or younger people are you are surrounded by younger people who are techy and savvy. It would be difficult for those people na to cope up. So it's very important that we have to have an open mind, um, attitude, or you know, perspective for us to learn. As a leader, as a supervisor, it's also very important for us to have such, no, even tayo na ang pinaka tenured in the department, in the organization, but and then we have new members. We have to be very open as well. Perhaps there are new topics that you know, new ideas that they could share. So it's very important that, you know, later on it would be very advantage. It would be into our advantage later on. So right, I could see a lot of comments, and then as I have said, these leading part is very crucial. It's very important, and there are so many challenges. You know, having this as part of your role as a supervisor, leading the team, so the driving the team. So it's not only understanding them, learning the technologies, how you manage, how to troubleshoot, how to coach them and all, how to communicate, how to set expectations as well, how to come up with end, you know, the intended end results and all that. So there are a lot. So some of the comments, communication or empowerment, transparency. So these are the common, and there are so much more, the, you know, challenges we experience as leaders, as supervisors, as managers. I hope we'll be able to tackle further when we have you know, the full course of such, or when we attend other leadership or supervisory training with Limitless later on. So going back to the fourth basic management function, controlling. The hard part is leading. Controlling is the harder part of being a supervisor, or the role, because maintaining or resolving concerns as it happen, it's not as easy as ABC or 1, 2, 3. Controlling, sometimes starting a project may be difficult at first, but controlling or maintaining such status, or being successful maintaining the status is more difficult, because let's say you have launched a particular product, let's say, and then when when you introduce the product, sometimes you would know if it's going to be successful or not. At least you could react and all that. But if it's already out in the market, and you know, you are successful, after 1 week, after a day, after 2 weeks, a month, how are you going to maintain such? So it's a matter of controlling the resources, controlling the workforce, controlling your staff output, the quality of work that they've been doing. So and what are the actual action, as we said earlier in the planning stage, anticipating unfamiliar or unanticipated situation. So how do we resolve such issues as they happen? All right. So those are the four basic functions of basic management functions, and we could as a summary. So we have to work the plan, sabi nga. We have to do some self or creating sequence of priorities, and we have to lead people, considering all the challenges, all the conflicts, all the disagreements, and how do we control or maintain or resolve issues as they happen. This free course is very short, but I hope it's very helpful, and we'll be able to further experience or learn more about the basic supervisory skills um, when you attend this full whole day course. It'll start 9 a.m. It's going to be online, similar to this one, but with the basic supervisory skills, the full course, it's going to be more interactive. It's more learning would be more hands-on, because there will be some activities that you have to do while doing while we go on with the training. So do we have any questions? So just a summary, quick wrap up of the topics that we have discussed. Knowing or understanding the role, understanding or setting expectations is number two. Third is learning or facilitating the four basic management functions. So these are the quick topics. All right. So for more free webinar or full course online training, please log on to limitlesspowercoach.com online training.